SBA EIDL Loan updates 2023. How to get 0% interest for 6 to 18 months up to 150, if not 250,000. Literally with no docs, no collateral, startup, non-startup friendly, as well as why it's important to look at no or low doc business funding options as opposed to medium to higher doc, as well as much more without collateral, no hard credit checks, bad credit is acceptable, and again, lower documentation. Hi, my name is Michael with Viral Funding Solutions. I'm a business loan broker expert who really prescribes people a diagnosis on what they need to fix in terms of getting a business loan, any type of a business financing, and not just treating the symptoms, because every business owner out there, whether you know it or not, is just looking to treat the symptom with some quick medicine that can be toxic and bad for you, as opposed to doing something more naturally. So at times, as a business owner, I know what it feels like. I've been in your shoes. Every day I work on my businesses. This just happens to be one of the others that I have as well. And I know how difficult it can be just trying to grow your revenue day per day, your sales. You look at the end of the week, you look at the spreadsheets, and then you look at the end of the month or bi-weekly, per quarter. Did you meet your goals? Did you hit that 50 to 100,000 per quarter, or wherever you were looking at it from a profitability standpoint, and so much more. Okay, without going too far on that, so SBA EIDL Loan update, there really isn't anything moving right now, and I made a recent video on this not too long ago, separated maybe by a week or two or so. And not a lot has been moving, just again, a lot of fraudulent activity, a lot of charges, a lot of disputing, tons of that back and forth between them and the loan officers. And just a lot of people getting themselves into the position where they weren't using the funds correctly. And I won't get into all the specifics. There are a lot of stories on that I don't want to go into right now. We're going to go into another segment like 0% interest in a second. But just making sure you make your payments on time, logging into your portal, paying through the SBA site, and being on a timely manner. I know there's the hardship accommodation plan. So if you are already on that, then you know and how all that goes, as I do. So just to keep it short on that front, there will not be any open applications right now. There's no evidence yet from what I've heard from the loan officers who I can go and communicate with. There are just some workshops out there that I would recommend you guys do join. I think there's one going on today or tomorrow. And it'll just really help understand how to set up your business structure better. And this is what I also help businesses do outside of the SBA. And there are my methods as well. But you can learn a bit about that, some things you can get into and learn with, especially the SBA 8A mentoring program, CDFIs out there, and ways you can just get better. So aside from the EIDL right now, and I'll always keep you guys up to date on what's happening, 0% interest for 6 to 18 months. What is that? So this is a business credit card stacking program. This isn't technically a business loan. This is where you can add multiple business credit cards. Let's say you have Chase business credit cards, the Inc. Unlimited cards. You have multiple. Maybe you have one for 20, another one for 10,000, another one for 15,000. So now you're having about 45,000 in total, or you can have one to start with. You may have one from one bank and one from another. And so you have maybe 45,000 total from all two or three, or however much you look at it. And then if you have stronger credit, the better. You can get these business credit cards, and you can even liquidate the cash out of and use that for any other investments that you choose for your liking, whether it's real estate related or not. It's a business for working capital. And I know you may be thinking about the interest rates on a personal credit card or a business credit card and thinking it's a bit high, but when you get 0% interest for 6 to 18 months, that's a huge leeway. And then you have to look at this as being good debt, not bad debt. Making sure that when that goes up, that you can finally make the repayments on that, and then you're in the clear. So that's a business credit card stacking program where you can literally get up to 150, up to 250,000 without docs. And if there are docs required, usually it isn't. It's because you have some form of a business, and that can give you some extra room, and that can give you an extra incentive and a boost, especially if you have a business plan and past history showing of what you've already done. They can take that into account. There's nothing wrong with providing that. Now, where there's a problem, now let me segment away from this 0%, and this is startup friendly, And I recommend this if you're a startup business owner. I actually had a chat with somebody on my YouTube comments. Just, I don't want to use the word ignorant because we don't see every perspective. So I shifted her way of thinking about a video that I created on personal loan or startup loans. With, if you have a bad credit, you can get a startup loan. No, the context of that video displays that you cannot have bad credit to get one of those. And so without having that credit profile, without having the revenue, at least $3,000 plus per month, then it'll be hard to qualify for even traditional, non-traditional financing. You'll have to look at crowdfunding and a few others. I'll go to the comments in a second. So make sure you keep that in mind, that it's all about context and perception, how you perceive that content. Don't just say, well, I didn't get the requirements, or I saw something. You think anybody's going to watch it after they hear that they have to have stronger credit and they don't? Yeah, the people who watch it are the ones who are going to then apply themselves. They're going to have the education to go, hey, Michael showed me that it's not acceptable to have a 600 credit score if I'm looking to get a personal/startup loan. I should have at least a 680, if not a 700. Now that I know that, I'm going to continue watching this video through. So then, or I'm going to save it, come back to it and watch it so that I'm more prepared. I have that where I'm not wasting energy and time anymore and just going out there shopping and shipping your information around. You don't want to be doing that. Giving your information out to anybody and everybody. I'll just keep this part very short, and I've said this so many times. They're going to shop around your credit, whether it's a soft pull or a hard pull. Sometimes they don't tell you. You get a hard pull. Now you have fraudulent activity. You're on the dark web. Your social security number's at fraud and at fault, I should say. Your EIN, everything is impacted. Maybe your tax return later on down the road. There's something that you could have had as a tax write-off, but you didn't, an extra incentive. Oh man, the list goes on. And I have people to this day who do that. I've had to speak to somebody last week at the end of my day, and they had gone through an online marketplace that I went, oh, if they would have come to me first, they wouldn't have been able to do that. And that would have been best for them, that they don't go that direction. And that doesn't mean that they are the best just because they tell you, hey, or we market ourselves and spend $20,000 a month just to get in front of you, that's best. They don't always house the best lenders. They're a third party. They don't always house the best lenders and underwriters. In fact, a lot of them use the same underwriters and the same guidelines. They don't always understand your industry. Okay, aside from that, I'm going to go into the low doc and then I'll come into the comments. Anytime you guys have anything, please list it. I will keep this short. I have to get going and I have a long day later in the afternoon. So what you need to know is, why should you opt for lower doc instead of medium to higher doc? Not even no doc. No doc, if you don't have the sufficient credit to use that credit line hybrid to liquidate the cash out of, you can get business credit cards. Yes, you can do that with lower than a 680. You want to have that though. 680 on all 3 consumer credit bureaus. Limited inquiries, at least 3, no more than 3 per credit bureau, at least in the last 90, 120 plus days. Even through a year, you don't want to have that. A year usually. So a lot of people would say 6 months. I'd say it through a year. But what you don't want is to go through the wrong funding service. A lot of people, they think, oh, I want to get an SBA 7A loan. I want to get a 504 loan, which I've created content on. If you're watching this later on YouTube as the replay, please look down below. I'll leave more information on the SBA loan. And then I'll also leave a questionnaire form down below as well as in the bio if you're here watching elsewhere. And where you can go is the loan questionnaire, first button. Click that after you click the link and then fill that out. Second one would be the real estate option. If you're looking for a real estate investment financial opportunity, you have a property lined up, you're looking to refinance, and then that refinance, then you're having a seller agreement with another individual who has a contract who's buying that property or properties. So everything goes in so many directions that I can go in. But what you have to know is, so many of you underestimate what it really takes to get an SBA loan. Not just that, but provide more documentation, whether it's some form of collateral, maybe it is equipment. But a lot of you are like, yeah, I'm gonna go get that SBA 7A loan, and you got it. You're like, oh, I see it, and I'm like, yeah, the bank, everything looks clean. Liquidity, equitable collateral, whether they wanted it or not. You have the down payment if that's provided. You have the experience. There are a few other components that I look at: cash flow. It can help service the debt over time. EBITDA, how much do you have? How much debt can you actually take on? What is the maximum amount you can actually get? Net operating income. But what a lot of you underestimate, and I have this happen a lot, is the documentation supplements. So what I mean by that is, if I'm asking for 3 years of personal business tax returns, I'm asking for the last 2 years of profit and loss statements and balance sheet. I'm looking for the current year to date profit and loss and balance sheet, especially, we're kind of in the beginning of January, so it's a little bit different now. But everything that I'm asking for, a personal financial statement, a business statement, not always needed, a personal financial statement though. We need to get your debt. We need to know on a spreadsheet, and I'll send this information to you. You can send your own, or I have my own, depending on the lender that we go into. And more documents. They might be more asked, like an appraisal, a term sheet. There's a lot more that has to be asked in the process. And if you're not ready for that because my accountant or somebody's absent, they've been sick, or then I find out all of these other reasons, and then you're like, oh, I'm on vacation, or I'm just not ready for that. It happens, and I have a lot of people right now who are currently going through it. So I always lay it down before, hey, if you're patient and you have the pieces together to this and you qualify and you are serious, I don't want you to just come in and say, hey, Michael, don't do this. Talk is cheap. Just don't say something that's going to sound good to me for making it sound good. You're tricking your own brain. You're telling your own mind something, especially when you say, I'm going to do it at a time implicitly, and you don't do it. That's just not a good look. That tells me a lot about your character. That tells me a lot about your traits, your personality traits. And if you're stubborn, if you're egotistical, you might not have those. You might be good. You might have worked on yourself. But that's why personal development is so important, because as I responded to another agent or a broker that had a question earlier, I said, hey, they spoke to somebody who said, well, hey, they thought that they were a scam or something. We're not a scam. And they're like, well, I can get funding from the bank, they're chasing me, and they sounded cocky saying it to the other person, the broker/agent. And I responded back to that post saying, hey, first of all, I have standards. So the banks are more than happy to accept your business for business financing, and they won't strictly look at it based on characteristics, credit aside, because it's a morality thing. But I will. I told that person, I shut down a business owner doing 2-3 million not too long ago, actually a few weeks ago. And I said it because, look, you may have the profile. It isn't because you're going to get declined, but because of your attitude. I can't work with somebody who's going to age me 20 to 30 years in the application. I don't want to have to go. I'm going to go to battle for sure. I'm going to do that. But who am I fighting for? That's the question. Why would I want to go to all that extent if you're just going to cause a lot of friction and resistance? You're going to be just barking. You're not going to get it. You're going to try to figure it out your own way. You're going to ask questions that don't even make sense, that we've already given you clarity on. And at the end of the day, you just have a rotten attitude about it. You think your way or the highway. And that had to be left out the door. Like when we stepped into this application, that had to be left out the door. And I can follow up with underwriting. And I have the best lenders and underwriters out there. So that's why I'm going to go to the comments in a little bit. Sorry, guys. But what you got to look at is you don't have that. Okay, you do. I don't want to provide it too much. Okay. What are you positioned in? What are you looking for getting funding for? Debt consolidation, refinance, working capital, inventory, something to have on hand. I need at least this amount to pay off this amount. Okay, so if we looked at bank statements and we looked at everything, well, there's a lower documentation service and these lenders who are looking at just revenue-based financing, not on credit solely. So we're looking at least a 500, if not a 415 above FICO credit score. And then when you come into my ecosystem, you're well taken care of. I take care of people on a personal human level, unlike anybody else's business. And I don't just say that lightly. I rarely just say that. But literally, I do take care of people. I take care of my own. You guys are like friends and family. Even though we're not blood, we are friends and family. And so when you come into my ecosystem, whether you have already or not, you'll notice that. You'll pick up on it. And when we're asking for documents, it could be as low as 3 months, if not 4 months of bank statements, a copy of your driver's license, and a voided check. Simple. How I ask for that is dependent on the lender, on the service, the organization. There are times where I'll say, hey, we have a safe and secure portal. You can upload it online and I'll get it into my back office. We'll get it and we'll review. I'll go to work now once all that's submitted. And I'll go review with my team, go get you an offer for ready to that. I'll go Now, underwriters, who's the best lender? And we don't hurt your credit. We give you multiple options, which you should have, and from the best source, not just applying to any online marketplace. And sometimes it's better to go direct, but in this market, since I already have those direct lender partnerships, I can go to them directly. It's better to do it in-house brokerage look. And so with this, you get more flexibility, better early payment discounts. I usually beat offers, myself and my team do. We go to work and we can see what you have in the market. And I've done that. It's a testament. I helped out a business owner not too long ago get $175,000 where they were getting $150,000 elsewhere, and they weren't getting the best service. I knew that. I knew once they told me who they went to, I said, Don't do that. And I didn't do it because of my interest. So lower documentation because you don't want to go through that process and then taking more time. Underwriting could take more time. It could be fast because it's not traditionally a bank. We can work a lot faster and more effectively, and we know your business. Yet it could take up to 21 days for an SBA loan. It could take 4 to 8 weeks, excuse me, not months. But you see that with the ERC program takes, because it takes a lot more time in supplementing this documentation. So what you have to look at are your needs of funding. Are they more faster? Do you want to wait time? If you want to do it now, we can get faster financing. And then in the meantime, we can look at getting you approved for an SBA loan. So approved here, boom, taking it, using it however you needed to use it, boom, paid off some other expenses, some other debt, boom, use the rest of it for growth and expansion. This is what I'm doing with my ROI, boom. Now people come back to me and I go, okay, this is the process now. We're already reviewing you for an SBA loan. So I'm going to need this documentation. Please send it to me. I'm going to need you to submit this, blah, 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 blah. And then when people see that, they go, So if you are very interested in it, you would do what it takes. And I will go ahead and share with you the benefits, not right now, but keep that in mind when you're looking for financing. Where are you on that? I don't want to use the word square, but where are you in that vicinity? You got to ask yourself that question. Now let me go to the comments. Hi, Lachito. How are you doing? Most certainly, I can. What are you looking to apply your funding to? And for what business? For just starting a business, as I mentioned earlier, like the 0% interest, that's a credit line hybrid program. Yes, you can get business credit cards before you hit a 680, but you want to have optimized your credit profile. This is what I'm talking about. I'm not saying you should go when you have a 600 to 625. Yeah, but that's a credit builder card a lot of times, and you will get a lower limit. You can get 5 times the amount you have on your personal credit side in total as well, if not the same. It just depends on having a credit profile that's optimized. And if you're just, you took a hit because you took trucks out or you missed some payments, you have some overdrafts. I mean, a lot of these things can ding you. So what I always recommend by optimizing your credit profile, you can do it yourself. I have resources already created on the YouTube channel, like free content on improving your personal credit. I had one recently where I spoke about the percentages that make up your credit. And what I would ultimately recommend, and I have a great relationship with this person, is get it repaired. If you need to get your credit repaired, guys, this is no joke. Like, I don't know how many times I got to say this to people. Some of you just get it the first time. Others have to hear it 100 times before they take action. And others just hear it too many times and just in here looking for something that doesn't exist. I don't know how many times I can put it for you guys, especially if you're a part of my email sequence and you hear all of this. And I'm an expert again. So I used to do the personal credit, business credit intensively, but I have outsourced that to my team. And so I literally work with the best in the personal credit, business credit space today. And I can go ahead and send them a quick text message if I wanted to. I have such a strong relationship with that I can just send them a quick text message. They call me from time to time and we just have a quick chat personally and in business. And I go, hey, I have here Lachito or I have here Sarah who is interested. I already explained to her the details, or him, that what it takes to get your credit repaired, Metro 2 disputing, whether the cost is $150 per month or not, or $300, the cost, the opportunity of your cost. Are you joking me? Of getting that credit repaired and getting in a better position where it could mean a better down payment, better rates and terms, better funding amount, better relationships with people instead of just starting on the back foot where you have bad credit and they have you on their radar, and they're looking at it like, I'm gonna do a lot of work with this person and the amount of work that it takes. So you got to keep that in mind. With no bank account, that will make it difficult. Are you using a personal account for business? If you're using a personal account like a lot of us do, and make sure you guys have it. If that's the case, we could, because it is a personal loan / startup loan, or it's more reflective on personal tax return or pay stubs more than anything. Now, there is the 0% interest for 6 to 18 months where it is no doc, but just keep in mind, if your personal credit isn't where it needs to be, it's going to be hard to get approved for what you really want. I helped out somebody that I know yesterday, by the way. Like, I have a great relationship with her, and she has freedom of range to just give me a text, a phone call. I won't always pick up right then and there, especially if I'm busy. Like I told them, I've been busy. I wasn't able to respond to her for about a week or so, a week and a half maybe. But I told her that, and she was okay. And I said, yeah, anytime you want to send me a text, you got my number, and I know you now well enough to where I feel comfortable just picking up the call from you, and you get those 5 to 10 minutes, if not more. Sometimes we spend more time on that. And I'm helping her with a lot of real estate stuff right now. She's sending even more people my way. There's even business financing involved and a few more scenarios, but I take care of my people. Like I said, I don't want you going to the wrong person, the wrong source, which about over 80% of the time people do. So if you want to learn the hard way, go right ahead. Like I said, it is possible. Like, how do you get found? You mean fun? Like found? Yeah, if you want to get found on Google and those, I do that too because I have a digital marketing background. I helped out businesses do that as well. But how to get funded? Is it a new trucking business? Have you been in business for some time? Sorry, I'm getting notifications up here on my phone. You don't need to be free of credit card due. And are you saying you want to, like, as a home builder? Is that what you're saying? So you're looking at more of a construction loan? Sorry if I'm misinterpreting that. I can't say, like, I gotta ask specific questions for each person, but because of time, and I'm gonna be dedicating this so much to one person, I can ask you everything that I needed to. But what I would do, Lachito, is bio, link click, first bind, fill out the funding submission form. Because there are plenty of questions I can ask you on utilization ratio, debt to income ratio. Do you have less than 35% utilization? What is your debt to income ratio? Do you know the percentage? Do you know how many inquiries you've had in the last 90 days? Are they soft, hard inquiries? Why do you have those inquiries? These are a lot of the questions. I can go even more specific, but if you go to the bio, link click, go ahead and fill out the funding submission form as well as anybody else in here. And there's also the real estate one, as well as more resources. Yeah, like I just said here, there are multiple options. Are you looking to get new equipment, used equipment, renting equipment? Renting will do a lot of good right now for business owners in the equipment space. Trucking, construction, could be anything. Because you want to understand how to keep your costs down. Sometimes fully owning something is not in the market, so you have to start off with renting. You have to start off with used, lower, maybe quality of equipment. But if that means keeping your overhead down and knowing that, hey, the repairs on this are very seldom. If you know that it's not a fixer-upper and you're going to be investing a lot into the engine, investing into new wheels, investing into a new trailer, new loads, you got to keep that in mind, what you're paying there. And so there's quite a bit, but I can't get into every service specifically right now, but there are many. And if you go to the bio, link click, first bind funding submission form, fill that out. And then I will be able to analyze, evaluate it, and then give you a proper response back via email. And for those of you who haven't gone back to, thanks for your patience. I had worked on plenty Friday and Saturday. Sunday I took it off. I usually have Sundays off. Those are, the man upstairs day and family. So I don't want to even think about work or my business as much as I can that day. Sometimes I do, but I would appreciate it if we don't. And that's because I want to take at least a day off, if not two, but a day off where I already worked hard throughout the week. But I'll get back to you guys if I haven't done it yet. I just get quite busy. Yes, you need better credit. For the no doc program, you're going to need a 680 and above. Like naturally just getting business credit cards, it's another topic with documents, but for this no doc credit line hybrid, you need to have at least a 680 on all three consumer credit bureaus. And it's not just this credit score, it has to be your history. Having new open trade lines recently and not having any aged trade lines if you don't have a strong credit history, you don't have credit worthiness, you don't have the accounts built, the trade lines built. That's what they're going to ultimately look at, are your trade lines. And that's what we look at. And we see how long they've aged and what you have built underneath those and what kind of time you've built. So it's not enough just saying that I make payments on my credit card. You actually have to take the time to build an aged credit account. And if you don't have that, that's something that can be limited. For 7 months in business, nice. Yeah, so fairly new. If you're in trucking, oh man, you're not really going to get a lot right now. I'm going to be very honest with you. And this is because, sorry, I'm getting a message. I'm going to have to probably leave this here soon. So if you're getting sorry, that was a distraction. My family member texted me. I got to get back to him. So if you are getting a trucking business loan, it is hard because if you have 7 months, you're not even 5. You got to have at least 5 years plus to be more like having a better looked at. Not even just 2 years. Less than a year is hard unless you have the credit profile. So those of you in the trucking business, transportation, anything, get your credit up. You got to work off of credit in those first 2 to 3 years. Really, you got to do that. You're like, this guy's joking. No, you have to. Because getting the maximum amount of funding, getting any at all, is seldom. Usually most get between 50 to 75% of their average monthly revenue, if not their lowest month a lot of times, unless you have stronger revenue. So what you got to do is optimize your credit profile. Your personal credit, separate that, and then start working on your business credit. Start getting access to vendor credit, start building up more accounts, more trade lines, and then start also using installment revolving credit lines with the business credit cards. So business credit cards with vendor credit. This is what I've done. And I had to learn this the hard way because I wasn't generating at a point enough revenue in my business. It took time for me in my online business and my ventures. So I started saying, what would it hurt for me to try business credit? I really needed it now. I needed ways of supplementing my marketing. I needed more activity. So I couldn't necessarily use paid ads because I wasn't generating, but I started understanding about how to use personal credit and business credit, and then getting access to vendors who have those like digital websites, and so I can leverage advertising better and more effectively. Equipment purchases, leases, EFA to lease, it'll change your world. You can use it as a down payment if you have a business credit card. Liquidate the cash out of, you'll use it for a multifamily. Understand how you leverage that and put that money into your bank account. But nobody's really teaching you this. You guys don't even learn this in finance in school, even if there were a finance class. Like, they don't teach you how to take care of your taxes. They don't always teach you how, accounting, bookkeeping, those are great classes to take. I've learned those. So just making sure you understand that as well as your bottom line. I don't want to go too off topic. Yes, construction loans. Yeah, with the free up the credit part, you're good as long as you have good standing credit. It could be based more off of what you're generating in revenue already, especially as a home builder looking for a construction loan. I don't always recommend those because there are moments where even for new construction, you may have a down payment. And I have a lot of business owners who don't go down that route unless it is a new construction loan that you're looking for. Then I absolutely would say that. And the LTV, LTC, I don't want to get into those nitty gritty right now. I can communicate that with you when you fill out the questionnaire. So if you fill out the questionnaire, let me know, hey, I'm a home builder, or I'm looking for, specifically, I want a construction loan. Now, is it just the construction loan itself to build, or are you looking for also like working capital related, maybe another growth or expansion project, maybe for some equipment? If that were tied in and you could do it through revenue base, maybe there are two options to do it there and then do it another one or segment it into one. But business lines of credit are very helpful, specifically for home builders. I've helped out a lot get them because it's ongoing projects. And so it's a churn of events. And so what you got to do is think about sometimes the down payment, if there is one. And I have people to come to me that go, I wouldn't mind having a little bit of a higher interest as long as I can mitigate putting money down. And liquidity has become a problem. I don't know if it's with you or with someone else in here, but I've seen it even myself. What I look at and I see my bank accounts and I go, sometimes I take out more than I want to because I have to, but liquidity has become a problem and it's been tightening up right now. And it's unfortunate that business owners are losing that liquidity, that equity. If you have enough equity in something and you can use real estate and you can withdraw from, oh my God, you're golden. And there's so many opportunities. I don't want to get too far in that, but if you have, we got to look at the appraised value. And usually you can get up to 80 or 85% of that. So let's say a million, or you get 750 to 800,000 or so or whatever, but you also have to take into the effect how much do you owe on that property, the debt. So 800,000 or so minus 300,000, and you could probably get up to 500,000 lent. So you got to look at how much you still owe versus the value of that property or properties. Having multiple does it better for you if you need to. And no debt, better. Did you already pay it off? Do you still owe more? What's your situation? That minus the amount debt owed, that's how much we can get you up to. We're not saying we're going to get you up to 500. We're not going to get you 500,000. We're just saying we can get you up to that, and we still have to see a little bit more to make sure everything lines up. And that's just very common. Account receivables. If you guys have unpaid invoices, offer that up as collateral, and you can leverage how much you want to give up. You have power and control on how many unpaid invoices. You go, okay, I just want to collateralize 250,000 and unpaid invoices. Great, I have the best in the space to help you in your specific industry. Here are the details. Okay. Secondly, now you're looking for an unsecured term loan or a line of credit. Let's see, do you qualify for those? Yeah, we can look at the two. Combination of an unsecured term loan and a line of credit, because it's revenue based, it's not collateral. And so you can combine that, like an SBA loan. If they don't ask for collateral, or they're not gonna want to not ask for it. They're gonna want to at least see what you have and don't have. They might not take that as a primary means of securing the funding, but what happens is you can look for a collateralized loan, and then we can also look for an SBA loan. So we can get you more. If the 700,000 you received in an SBA loan wasn't enough, well, you can collateralize account receivables up to 250,000, and you have 500,000 on 30, 60, 90 days. Okay, yeah. Take a look. You could probably take out 250,000 of that 500,000 you produce per month, or 300,000 per month, if that's what you feel comfortable with, because you need it closer to 900,000. So guess what? You're in that vicinity again. Are there 0% loans for new businesses? Restaurants. Appreciate you. Thank you for bringing that up. As I mentioned earlier here, 0% loans don't exist. Everybody, like, it just doesn't. If you're looking for business credit cards at 0% interest for 6 to 18 months, that's not a loan. These are credit cards. But 0%, look at the EIDL loans. Trying to bring it down below 3%. 2.75, 1%, 1.75. And so if you're looking for a 0% interest rate business loan, how is that lender supposed to make their money if you're not paying on interest? This is how they make their money, on those interests. And those fees associated with the lender closing fee, the broker closing fee, those are just standard origination fees. So the thing is, if you're looking for 0% interest, principal plus interest is the standard, not just principal. And that's a way of being more accountable and responsible, and also helping you, making sure you pay it back on time, you pay it back earlier, and then you're not having to run into problems. So there's always going to be interest attached to anything. So don't shy away from 20, 30% interest, because the market is that. Some restaurant owners with A-tier paper were getting like 19, 15% interest without collateral. But in the market, it's more about 25 to 30% with A-tier. So even if you're getting 27% interest, even if you're getting a 1.27 factor rate or total payback, so be it. You're taking that money, you're doubling and tripling it and quadrupling it. The only reason you are rate sensitive is because you're not sure how to use that money, or you're not using that money to double, triple, quadruple your gross revenue, your profits, even that, if it's affected your gross profits and your net profitability. So that's where we become very sensitive on the topic of interest rates, because we look at it as a point of savings. We look at it as a home mortgage. We look at how much more we can keep into our account, because we're not growing our own revenue to sufficiently supplement what our expenses are per month on rent and these things. So those of you out there, and I know the psychology, I've been in your position, so I know this. 810 credit, 345,000 gross per year. What do you mean by get anything you want? Do you mean got? I'm not sure if you're still in here. I don't think you are, as I can see above, but great. So does anybody have any questions? We're going to round up the video here. But there are a lot of options out there that are available. But I just want to recap that you have the SBA EIDL that I went into. There's really nothing moving there. It's just a fraud and a lot. Payments, hardship accommodation plan. in a few states that are getting help. And the low doc versus medium to high doc, why it's important to look at them and think, can I supply? Can I not? Do I want to? Can I just supply less right now? And you got to think about those. What are the intangibles? What are the tangibles? What can you do with that funding? And then we went into, I didn't really get into PPP, but that's not available. And then you have the employee retention credit. You guys can get up to $26,000 per employee in a refundable tax credit. That's another one that's available. And then we went into just a few other segments with other business financing, answered some questions here. But I'll leave it open for about another minute if anybody has anything. I have to get going here. Oh, before that too, get serious. I have people that I speak to every day who are just this. Me. And they're just a bunch of talkers. And it shows. It shows it in the process. It shows it, like, you may not do that with your own employees, but when I can really see the real person when I'm communicating with them, I can really understand who they are. I can understand their character, their personality traits. And are these things getting in the way? I literally have, again, like I said earlier in this video, I've shut down business owners who generate $2 million a month, $3 million, $5 million, not because they can't qualify. And you know the answer why. Because I'm not willing to, I can go through the hurdles and everything, but it's just going to be a lot of friction with that person's attitude. It's probably already raw and it could get toxic. And I, again, don't want to age 20, 30 years in the application. I'm sure you wouldn't ever want to put yourself in that position. So why should I? So sometimes I have to shut down business owners. I can pick and choose. And it's because I have built enough after all this time. I put in the work. And so when somebody comes to me, I'm not saying that I won't accept them because they don't have a good attitude or bad character. It's just I will take time to understand. And if I know for a fact that we haven't even gotten started, or we know that once we get started and we get to the phase, I know already that, like, look, it's not worth the trouble for me. You can go do that to somebody else. They won't appreciate you doing that. Don't go do it to someone. But if this is how you're going to act, I want no part of it. This is not a script I want to play in. I don't want to be in your world trying to kind of overcome this whole, like, you getting in the way and then transferring that over to me. That's toxic. And so you leave that out the door. If you don't work on yourself before, just leave it out the door. We come in, put your shoes aside if that's what is recommended. Like, you go into a house sometimes. Okay, put your shoes aside. Come walk on in and I'll welcome you. And then we can work. But until then, if you're just going to be like just my way or the highway, every part, oh my God. This is why sometimes I don't even respond, because it's just like, and then if you betray my trust, or if you betray me in a way that you did it intentionally or unintentionally, like that, just like, why would you do that? You let your own belief get in the way. Why didn't you come to me about doing something like that was shady, or something else that you had in mind? Why didn't you communicate that with me? And then this result happens, and then we're like, oh my God. I put my underwriters and my lenders through this process only to find out that you did have higher debt to income ratio when you didn't. About a week ago, you had 0%, but because you took out other loans. Where was this communication? You didn't think it would affect you, did it? Oh, well, it's called debt to income ratio. You don't think that those loans would affect it, even though they're so new? That you haven't been making payments on them yet? Like, from what part of the world does it make sense to treat somebody like that? So a lot of people who do come to me don't treat me that way because we build a personal and business relationship. It goes far beyond getting a business loan. I have other businesses that I run. If you think that I'm only one-dimensional, you are wrong. I've actually helped businesses increase their bottom line, their profitability, helped them with business plans, have helped them with their web presence, online, social presence, advertising, or doing it organically because I have a digital marketing agency, affiliate marketing businesses, and a few others. So just making sure you guys are aware. I'm not saying this because, oh, this guy sounds, I'm not cocky at all. I hate that. People who are that way, please. And so just humble yourself in a good way, right? Be more respectful, be accountable, and people are going to treat you right, whether you can or can't qualify for it, something right now. So I'll leave it open for about another minute. And if you guys haven't yet done this, I don't say it enough, please share the room with others who you find will get value from this. It can be a complete stranger or a friend or a family member. non-blood related, but you know that you were able to help them, you can help them sleep better yourself too. It's a connection you can have with somebody that you don't even know. And I've done that myself, where I can refer somebody or I can spread the word and show them that, hey, this guy's the real deal. This guy is actually showing me an education. That's what you want. Education first. Second, then we can get started on the application. But when you come to me and you go, I got these expectations of, and this is how you're talking to me. You got this expectation. Hi, how are you? And I mean, we're not going to talk over the phone all the time. I don't have to have that. I tell people till this day, I can't even, they want me to call them. No, fill out my questionnaire. My process is to fill out my questionnaire. Second, I will evaluate, analyze it. 3, I will respond back via email on your best funding option and options. Thoroughly broken down like nobody's business. And in this email, it's going to be so long, it's going to be message clipped, but you're going to be able to see your best funding option at the top. Everything broken down about that service, that lender, that organization. No objections after you're done. You're going to be asking, well, why am I getting a weekly? Why am I getting a daily? Why can I not get monthly because I don't get paid weekly every single time? This is the standard. And whether the truth hurts or not, you're getting it. And if you're not getting it, you're like, I'm going to go do whatever I want to do. Go ahead. You've been doing that all this time and see how it's worked out for you? Somebody's going to tell you, hey, you're probably going to reference me. Hey, I spoke to this Michael guy with Viral Funding Solutions, and he was trying to help me with X and Y lender, or whoever it was. And they told me I couldn't get a monthly. Is that true? Oh, but yeah, mijo, you could get a monthly. I can send you my contact information, and then make sure here, you just check this email when you find it, and I'll have a term sheet available for you that'll show you how to get a monthly repayment with us. And here, I'll go to work to see if I can get it. And then you end up getting bait and switched. And then they end up telling you could only get a weekly, or you only qualify for daily because of how you're depositing. If you're depositing like just every single week, yeah, we can give you some room. But if you're not, you're depositing more of a bi-weekly or monthly, it doesn't mean we're going to give you a monthly repayment. That could even mean we're going to shut you down. That means we can just look at the file. I could look at the bank statements and go right away, when, how much, what type of deposits. Boom, simple. Seen it all. I go, okay, they're depositing this amount per week. Here's what their actual revenue could be with these deposits, and I see that now. Well, and they're in this high-risk industry, the chances of them getting approved are much more slim. Not only because of the depositing schedule and frequency, the consistency of it, if it's stable or not, but also because of the industry and what you have to meet per industry to get qualified. Simple. Appreciate you. Thank you. So does anybody have any questions, comments, or concerns before I get going? See, a lot of you guys in here are like, well, oh man, he actually makes it sound much harder than it. No, I'm not making it sound harder. You're making it harder for yourself. See, what it takes is for you to look at yourself in the mirror, but telling you to look in the mirror, it's not like that. I can't just tell you to look in the mirror. I have to make it sound better, of course, and I can, but I won't do that right now. And the truth is, taking a look at yourself in the mirror and looking at yourself, just sitting here, I can just sit here, not doing any work, looking out into my nice view that I have in my room or wherever I'm at, and then just, oh, it's not working. Because you don't have the proper compartmentalizing in your head to think my thoughts through, to think each and every one and separate them and really look at myself and go, I'm the reason why I'm not moving forward. It's me. Why am I blaming somebody else? And the question to every single business owner and as an entrepreneur, I'm always asking hard questions. I'm not asking closed-minded questions. Ask open-minded. How can I get the skills to generate an extra $10,000 per month, per quarter? How can I learn the skills to generate from $20,000 to $50,000 per month, quarter 1 to quarter 3, so that way quarter 4, I don't have to generate an additional $30,000 to $50,000. I can sit on just $15,000 to $20,000 and be happy, or however you best see fit. But saying, I can't make money. Oh, my business isn't working. You're looking for a quick fix. And I had this thing with this lady the other day, and I don't know if she just wasn't getting it. It just was the context of how that video was made. I get that. Sometimes I won't mention something, but you got to read between the lines. And accusing me or just saying something that was outlandish, like I had the right response. And if you're going to challenge me about something, go ahead, do it. I don't mind, but just be ready to what you get back and don't hide. I don't want you hiding. I don't want you going, oh, you're not triggering me. I'm just saying it in a very nice way. But if you can't even just, oh, like, what do you have to say after that? Some people who come into this room, oh, it's this guy again, or like a guy earlier said something. I can't even remember what he said. He was like one of the first people that commented. I just skipped over what he said. I didn't even really like acknowledge it. Once I saw it, I said, next question. Because we don't have energy and time to waste on people like that. People who come in here to just joke around. People who are just on TikTok. I get it. TikTok is an entertainment app. I get it. But Michael, I'm on TikTok to view some girl shaking her butt or some guy showing me his chest or whatever you're into. I don't know. It could be somebody who's showing you food recipes and you're like, damn, I'm seeing those food recipes and I'm going to go make that one tonight for my husband or my spouse. And I do those things too. I'll sometimes see something and I go, babe, or I say her name and I go, I'm not going to tell her sometimes. I'm just going to make it. You don't have to tell or express something to somebody to do it. Just do it. Get it done. And so when I ask of somebody to do something and we're at the next part of our communication, if we backtrack, it better be because of clarity. It better be because it's just something that you forgot. It better not be something where you're like, I got it already, but you're just asking too much and you're just going away from everything. Now I have to recourse you, and now I just spent an extra 10 minutes on that where I could have done it differently. We could have already been in the application. I could have spent that energy and time for somebody else who just gets it. But if you're going to be like that, that's why I tell people, I safeguard my time and energy, because if I were to answer every inbound or outbound call, I would do that. I don't do that because I have systems, processes, automation. Process, systems, automation. That's the 3-step, top to bottom. So making sure you guys have those are the key difference in your business. Hi, Monica. How are you doing? Good question. Let me read this out loud. What are your qualifications? So it varies per service. I can't say that you'd exactly get this type of service that have these kind of qualifications, but I can ask you this. What kind of business are you in and how's it been going for you this year? And also, what type of financing, or I should say, what are you going to be using the funding for? It could be for inventory. It could be a numerous amount of reasons. That can also dictate what our qualification process is. But I released a video on this, on the 3 C's of capital: cash flow, credit, collateral. You either have one of the 3, 2, or 3. Now, you have all 3, you're in better position. You have one, I have cash flow without the other 2, or I do have them, but I want to go through revenue. So I'm going to look at my online bank statement, or I'm going to look at my bank statements, I should say. I mean, they're online banks, of course, but I'm going to look at my bank statements, and I'm going to determine on that. Well, I'm going to determine because I pre-underwrite before I send them to the actual underwriter. And I'm an underwriter, just so you guys know this. Like, I can underwrite a file. Like, what an underwriter is going to look at, I already know. I know very, very well. I know what that lender is going to be looking at your file and saying they're going to be critiquing, because I'm already doing that. If I'm critiquing, you can only imagine what the lender is going to say. So, like today, I got an update on a client that we've been looking at his file for the past week. It wasn't a quick 1 to 2 day turnaround because they have an extensive amount we have to look through, and we ended up declining them because they didn't have enough of the revenue being deposited. They had fluctuations in revenue. They didn't meet the revenue requirements in one certain time. And so if you're depositing less, have at least 3+ deposits. You have an online retail clothing line? Nice. And you're just built, you need a startup? How long have you been in? This is the first month? Are you at Etsy, Shopify, Amazon, WordPress, WooCommerce? I know all of this because I do it every day. I'm in the websites every single day. Guys, I do have a team positioned for certain things. So I need to delegate so I can focus on what I need. But I'm always updating my own plugins. I'm in there adding new plugins. I'm adding new things to my site. I'm bringing more visibility. I'm blogging. I upload blog posts just about every week on my sites. Myself, writing the content. I'm the one writing the content. Like, I actually sit there and map out what I'm going to be writing, my organized doc, and then I'm going to have my titles, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to approach it this way. I'm going to reverse engineer from the bottom up, but everything like this. Nice. Shopify. Yeah, I'm very familiar. I worked with Shopify myself. And I had a hybrid where I was doing an e-commerce in the health space. I have a health business too in the affiliate marketing space. And so, well known in that space, by the way. I'll get to the Jasper in a moment. Like that you brought that up. But yes, I did a hybrid, and then I did WooCommerce before because I had an integration with WordPress. It's only common that as a blogger, as somebody who was doing affiliate niche sites, I would be able to then integrate WooCom. I could do a Shopify integration as well, a Zapier integration. So I did that for a little bit. I did a hybrid with my e-commerce store, but then I translated back because I saw a bigger opportunity and I saw where this market was going. So I went back to just doing the whole affiliate side. And now I have that with the YouTube channel and a few things. But that's already working on me automatically, and I help people out with their back pain. I've had those issues. And so like right now, I'm sitting on an ergonomic chair, whether it's a Herman Miller or not, but I'm sitting on this back cushion, seat, lumbar cushion. You guys can't see it, but it's underneath me right now. And I just have the right attire, and I do stretches. I do what I like to call, isn't another name for it, but reaching for the sky, just doing little things like that I just felt my back crack a little bit, but for a good way. It's just a little bit like that. Yeah, sciatica. Yeah, I know that. I know that problem. And yeah, there are little ways of relieving that tension without hurting yourself. And I'm not going to get into that right now. I know there are ways. I have actually content on helping people with this. I'm not going to jump right now into that because I don't want to focus on all the diagnosis and the symptoms. But I have a site. If you guys go to remove back pain, removebackpain.com, you guys will learn more. So let's go up here. And I'll get back to you right now, Monica. Cash flow must cover debt service. Yeah. If you're asking, you know this already, cash flow must cover the debt service, yeah. That's for SBA or any other type of financing. Making sure you have enough. Keeping more than what goes out is actually a huge thing too. So making sure you don't withdraw too much per month, per day. If we see too many withdrawals like per day, like you just deposited twice, like 350,000, like 2 times, and then you just withdrew 750,000. We're like, what? Your money comes in as fast as it goes out. Like, keep more money into your account than what goes out. Limit it. If you have to take out more, do it towards the end of the week. But when you do it towards the end of the week, if possible, because I know we got to pay vendors, suppliers, I get all that. I'm on board. But what I'm saying is, even if you have an end of the week withdrawal, don't have it be too big. Don't have it be more than what you're actually depositing and you're making in sales and etc. That's all amounting to that. So yeah, cash flow must cover the debt, liquidity, everything like that. Having cash on hand is definitely going to help you right now. Moving forward, 2023 is the year of having enough liquidity. And if the more cash you have on hand, you can liquidate the cash out of business credit cards on top of what you already have circulating from your business cash flow. You can double, triple that money, and then you can use that for real estate investments, Bitcoin currency, to then buy a property. So there's so much more. Got it. With sam.gov. With Jasper, yeah, you can get them to do that. You know, they have so many names they switch through. But I've used them and I have their service. I just don't go through it too much. Even with everything happening with ChatGPT and all that. And ChatGPT, excuse me. And so there's so much right now. We're in a transition phase. And you can use AI to help you write your content. I've done that. But at the end of the day, it's good for generating results. It's good for asking yourself questions, which I like to use it for. It can write a post for me, but it's not in my words. I still have to go in there, of course, and change it, or my team, if I have my team doing that. Usually it's myself, because nobody else can supplement what you can do. And I've become a strong writer over time. So at the end of the day, I'm optimizing for what Google wants. And Google's not always wanting an AI. So they're going to want to hear the best they want to put the best content on page 1. They want to know that when the person goes on the site, not only with loading speed and everything else, LCP issues and a few others, that's all taken care of. But at the core front of it is that the material answers their question or what they're looking for, the intent. What is the intent of that user when they land on your site? Are you answering the question they had in mind right away? Are you getting to the point? Are you listing the right things, the steps? And so it's about the organized structure of your content and the word usage. in terms of like what you're portraying within your own words on the blog post. And it can be on a YouTube video, etc. But at the end of the day, it just doesn't go, it doesn't come down to optimizing for backlinks, internal links. It comes down to the actual content that the person wants. And if you're not getting to the point, if you're not actually giving them the meat and the potatoes, giving them the best value when they land on that post, and again, we skim through, so sometimes we miss something. The average person like just goes through a blog post for like 3 seconds before they just want to click away, and they're looking for something. But if you got to take your time sometimes to read that, because if you don't, and you just click to go do something, later on you're gonna be like, well, I didn't know about this in the application, or I didn't know about this product. Well, it was there, you just didn't read it. Instead, you wanted me to call you about it, but it was all there. Like, why would you think anything different? If there's something updated, I'm going to put it on that post for you to refer to. Yes, I agree with you. You know how it works. And it's fun, isn't it? It's cool. Everything we do in this world, if we can use something for speed much faster, that's what we're going to do. We're going to lean in on speed. So really what you're getting are ideas. Answer the Public is another great place. There are many more. I use all the tools. I use SEMrush, Ahrefs. I use Uber Suggest. I use Surfer SEO. I use everything. Keywords everywhere. And so I'm a SEO, by the way. I have an SEO background. And so I can optimize websites. I can write and have people appear on the search engines, in case some of you guys were wondering, like, isn't this guy a business loan broker? You probably heard me say this already, but yes, I do SEO, and I'm in those communities all the time learning, because I'm blogging myself and I'm ranking my site. It's very high, and I did it over not even a year, over years, literally, to get that respect from Google and from my peers. That's what I've done. Until this day, I can go to my analytics right now and I can show you who's on my page and who's viewing what content. Like right now I'm on analytics, and I can use another, like Monster Opt-in and stuff like that. I can use other growth tools. But if I go over here, I'm in my analytics. Yeah, plenty of people right now are on my site. And I can even view it by day. I can view it from yesterday. But I'm always looking at my numbers and my metrics and time on screen and bounce rates. And my bounce rate is relatively low. So people are finding my content useful, and it's most up to date. Not exactly, but Neil Patel is a great source. He does focus a lot on when he creates content, because it pleases the algorithm. So for those of you who don't know this, and you guys watch Neil Patel, just notice how he speaks a lot about beginner tactics and strategies. And it is not because he only knows that, but he knows his audience. He knows that he also has to please the algorithms, that he shouldn't create content that's very algorithmically hard, because if he did, yeah, people would get value from it from time to time, but it's also about search and recommendation. And if there's not enough of an audience or not enough people viewing his content, because you can get that from basic foundational stuff, and that's fine. Nothing wrong with that. Once you go into his ecosystem, though, you opt in for something, then he shows you more. That's what happens with me. There are things that are on my YouTube channel, literally, guys, if you guys go on there, you guys are going to be like, holy, literally, because you guys will learn stuff that is not shown publicly, stuff that I get internally, stuff that I know because of the experiences I've had myself getting clients. But you can't always share that, because it won't get the attention. It's not about likes. It's not about that, but you want to get in front of enough people, and it's about impact. And it does help when you can spread the word, to a video that probably won't create as much views by itself. Usually recommendation feed on YouTube is how a lot of views come, not usually by people searching online, even though there's a lot. But I don't want to go too far. Does anybody else have any questions before I get going? Oh, and Monica, I apologize too if I didn't get into it extensively when I got back. Bio, link click, first button, fill that out, and then I will be able to evaluate, analyze. And then there's also more resources like the 0% or the personal/startup loan, in case I didn't say that. I apologize. you can go over to removebackpain.com. I just don't like listing them because I know what comes with saying and revealing a site, but yeah, I'll leave it at that. So I'll give it another 30 seconds if anybody has anything. And this site took a dip for some time, so it's kind of gone like because of the space. One second. There we go. I had to email someone on my support team. Aweber's been down. I don't know if you guys use them. Let me try to send my password email reset because I forgot it. I usually have it saved. Yeah, thank you too. You too. Have a great day. So I'll leave it open for about another 15 or so seconds. Yeah, he's right. He knows how I feel about it without saying it, right? That's why I was hesitant. I'm hesitant to give people that. Sometimes I share it for other publicity reasons, but usually I don't give people that because there's a lot of fraud or there's a lot of copiers out there. You can't always replicate what the other person does because to the effect in the content that they have, but just do things your way. Don't look at somebody, get ideas from it, but don't copy. Don't take that and respin it. I've had people who did that, and then I have had people like recreate my YouTube video with some weird background footage, and then just had the words or the subtitles listed. And I found it from Google search. So I found it from Google search, went over to the YouTube video, and I'm like, yeah, reported them. Get out. There are a lot of people who are creating fake profiles of me. Facebook, oh my God, I can't even tell you guys. So many. There's a Chris, there's a Carlos, there's a Henry, there's a my first and last name. But be very careful. Verify that that is me. You can even send a quick DM. Be like, hey, Michael, is this you? Or usually you'll find the right one when you see it. I have the following and I have that reputation. Now let me see if I can log back into Aweber. I'll close up. I said 15 seconds. I'll give you guys a little bit. Let me go here. Yeah, I know the concept. I know the whole world of websites. I know why you shouldn't. I know when you should, when you shouldn't. And I've used this as examples for my own because I have sub-affiliates underneath me too, and they needed help with doing stuff like that, so I've mentored, consulted with them. So let me do that. Man, I can't even use the email because I gotta broadcast something. I can't broadcast what I wanted to today. Dang, I had a big couple of broadcasts to different email lists, and Aweber is encountering a problem. Let me go to the unscheduled interruption. And it looks like the customer logins are still major outage. Main site is again back on major outage. That was fixed. Update, mitigate. Got it. Okay. I think nobody has anything else. 10 seconds. 10. Or I'm going to go. 9, 8, 7, 6.5. 6 3/4, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 1.5, 1 3/4, 1 5/6, 1 1/16, 1 1/8, 0. Okay, guys, appreciate you. Thank you for the likes. I do see those. They don't go unaccounted for. If you did share the room or didn't, it's okay. Either way, I don't always bring it up. I don't always expect you to. If you got value out of it, though, please give it a thumbs up. If you're watching this on YouTube later, share it with others who you do feel will find value. Post a fact, and you know they can get an education. I'm the person who can really help somebody change their business, and not just their business, but their own life. And I do it with intent. I do it with trustworthiness. I do it being humble. I do it without wasting energy and time. And I get to the point on things. And if you don't like the answer to something, and I don't say it like always directly, by the way, that's not what I mean. But if it's not always what it's your liking, you got to adjust your belief. See, we grew up with a certain amount of beliefs. We grew up with certain beliefs on finances and how we should grow up and do things. But you got to adjust. When you come to this world, I'm going to have you by my arm, not even across, but on the side of me, like a friend or a family. Well, I won't even get to talking about your business. I'm going to just ask you some good questions, or I'm just going to see how your well-being is, how's your health, how's your relationships, and then how's your wealth. And then we can go into a few things. But yes, that will conclude. Subscribe if you haven't. Click that bell notification icon so you do not miss any future content I will be coming out with. And if you're watching me here on TikTok or elsewhere, please subscribe, follow. I will always come out with content, not as regularly as I used to, but you'll see it on other platforms if you're following me there. A lot of stuff on Facebook Reels. I'm going to actually be releasing another one here shortly. But yeah, everything for me. Have a great afternoon, evening, and I will talk to you all on the next one. Take care. Bye.